These are the 3D VIEW-MASTER adventures of Popey, the fish story. VIEW-MASTER Reel 1. Picture 1. Not everyone can bring home a fine mess of fish without ever dipping a hook in the water. But then, not everyone is Popey the sailor man. Humming a tuneless tune in a voice about as musical as a buzz saw, Popey strolled to the beach and got out his gear. The sky is right, the day is right, the weather is right, he chuckled. I'll get a real mess of fish, or my name is not Popey the sailor. He was about to cast out his line when he heard a strange strangling noise and turned to look. Picture 2. Blow me down, grunted Popey in surprise. A belly can. Hey, bird, how come ya to be all swole up and puffing and grunting that way? The pelican went on making strangling noises and looking as upset as only a pelican can look. Suddenly Popey understood. Poor fella, he said, you cannot open your mouth on account of this stuck together. And a pelican what can't open its mouth is a gone goose on account of it cannot swallow fish. Picture 3. What to do? Suddenly, Popey thought of the screwdriver in his tackle box. He got it out. The pelican looked frightened. It made frantic burbling noises. It even tried to fly away, but Popey held onto its beak. Hold still, he said. This is only a screwdriver and I'm using. It won't hurt. The big bird calmed down. He couldn't understand the words, but he knew he was being helped. Popey pried here, pried there, and suddenly, picture 4. Squeak! Plop! The beak came unstuck. The pelican could hardly believe it. With a look of amazement, he opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Okay, said Popey. Now you can eat and will not starve. Go and find the fish. Picture 5. The half-starved bird took off like a rocket. Chuckling, Popey turned back to his fishing. He was about to cast his line when, splash, the pelican dived into the ocean right in front of him and came up with a good-sized fish. Hey, yelled the startled Popey, why can't you go and catch them somewhere else? I wants to do some fishing too. To his amazement, though the seabird flew straight at him, dropped the fish, wheeled in midair and dived again. Picture 6. Soon Popey found himself in the midst of a veritable rain of fish. Well, blow me down, he chortled. More fish from the pelican. He's trying to show his gratitude. And so he was. Before Popey knew it, he had a string of fish any angler would invade. Picture 7. Just as he was getting ready to go home, a friend happened by and gaped in surprise. My gosh, Popey, he exclaimed. What kind of bait did you use to catch all those? Popey answered, chuckling. I used a plain old-fashioned screwdriver. Then, humming his tuneless tune, he started off up the beach with his catch, leaving the man to stare after him with his mouth open as wide as the pelican's had been. The hunting bird. VIEW-MASTER Reel 2. Picture 1. It was the first day of hunting season. Popey was waiting when the sporting goods store opened. I want some shells, he told the clerk. What kind of shells? The clerk asked. What are you going to hunt, Popey? Somebody told me where there's lot of pheasants, Popey replied. Olive Oil said she cooked me a decent dinner. Only I gotta bring the pheasants. Picture 2. Passing a pet store, Popeye said to himself, a bird dog. That's what I gotta have to hunt pheasants. But the proprietor said, sorry Popeye, I'm all out of bird dogs. How about a parrot? Blow me down, said Popeye. I never heard of hunting with a parrot, but I'm the kind of a swab as will try anything once. Come on, Polly, let's go scare up a mess of pheasants. It isn't Polly, it's Joe, the man said. Picture 3. Out in the pheasant country, Popeye turned the parrot loose. Okay, Joe, you know what we are after, he said. Off went the parrot. If anybody can find pheasants, I can, he screeched. Picture 4. Popeye waited. He waited and waited and waited. He was about to give up and go get a bird dog when suddenly here came Joe, puffing like a freight engine. I looked everywhere, Popeye, he gasped, but I just can't find any pheasants. Do you want me to keep on trying? Maybe we are at the wrong place, Popeye answered. We will try another. Picture 5. But the other place seemed no better. Joe flew off again and was gone for more than an hour. Popeye got tired of waiting. He decided to go find the parrot and see what he was up to. Maybe I've been had, he said to himself. Maybe I've been sold a parrot, what doesn't know how to hunt pheasants. Picture 6. Popeye was wrong. Joe knew how to hunt pheasants and find them. Hearing the parrot's screechy voice, Popeye sneaked up behind a bush and peered over it. There was Joe, giving a trio of pheasants the lowdown on how to stay out of range of Popeye's gun. You guys, he heard the parrot say, are the 87th, 88th, and 89th pheasants I've wanted today. Picture 7. Popeye was annoyed at first. His whole day's hunting had been ruined by a parrot. Then he thought it over. He began to chuckle. Okay, bird brain, he said. I reckons birds has got to stick together and help each other out, just like people. Come on, I'll buy ya a feed. At Wimpy's joint, Popeye ordered crackers for the parrot. For himself he ordered a roast duck shot by somebody else without the help of a parrot. Football fans, VIEW-MASTER Reel 3. Picture 1. The big game was about to start. Our side was Olive Oil's favorite team, and Popeye had forgotten to get tickets early. Almost at the last minute he rushed up to the gate, but could get nothing but 3 words. No more tickets. There must be more tickets, he argued, but it only made the ticket man angry. Picture 2. Olive was even angrier. You've got to do something, she scolded. I've got to see this game, or else. Okay, Popeye said, if that's the way you feels about it. But what could he do? For him it would have been no trick at all to break right through the fence. But there was a policeman around, and anyway he didn't believe in breaking the law. On the other hand, if Olive didn't get to see the game, she wouldn't speak to him for a week. Suddenly an idea came. A moment later he was back at the ticket window. Picture 3. Could we climb a tree and look over the fence? Popeye asked politely. The ticket man grinned fiendishly. Sure you could, he said, if there was a tree. There ain't. He laughed like a maniac. Popeye said nothing more, except to himself, "I figures I am gonna have the last laugh." Back to olive oil he went. "I got permission to see the game," he said. "You start digging a big hole right there by the fence. I will back in a minute." Picture 4. Olive didn't know what was going on, but if Popeye said she could see the game by digging a hole, then she'd dig a hole. "Oh my goodness," she said to herself, meanwhile digging like mad. "I hope he hurries. I've just got to see our side win, and the game's about to start." Picture 5. At the ticket window, the stadium cop and the ticket man were having a big laugh. "You mean you gave the crazy sailorman permission to see the game from a tree?" The officer said. "Yes, and there ain't any tree," guffawed the ticket man. "Maybe he'll climb a shoe tree," said the policeman, laughing as if it were the funniest thing ever said. Picture 6. The two men wouldn't have thought things were so funny if they had known what Popeye was up to. Gobbling up the spare can of spinach he always brought along, he marched to the nearest big tree, 100 yards from the stadium, braced himself, and tore it out by the roots. Carrying toward the stadium he chortled. "The man says there ain't any tree, but pretty quick there's gotta be one." Picture 7. The cop and the ticket man nearly fainted when they saw Popeye walk up to the fence, carrying a huge oak tree as if it were a fence post, set it in the hole, and help Olive up into the branches. The game began. Our side took the kickoff and ran the ball to their side's 9-yard line, while Olive cheered like a whole rooting section. Looking down at his friends, Popeye laughed his barking laugh. "Climb on up, boys," he invited. "Help yourself to the best seats in the place."